If you're doing any sort of drywall installation, you can use a utility knife, you can use a planer, you can also carry with you a keyhole saw, you can also carry with you a guide of your choice, or you can use 109 Tools drywall plane cutter. I'd like to introduce to you a home repair tool that was designed by a South Korean carpenter with 25 years of experience. This is the drywall plane cutter. Now, the drywall plane cutter has 4 crucial tools you need when installing drywall. So it has a cutter right here, it has a tape measure hook right here, it has a drywall plane or rasp right here, and it also has a keyhole saw right there. So I'm going to show you how to use it and explain each of the main functions. So first, let's take a look at the cutting function. So we have a utility blade. You just press the button here, slides out. If you let go, it automatically stops. Nice and sturdy. It's not going to push in, it's not going to slide around. And when you want to retract it, again, push that button, locks right into place. Here we have a tape measure hook. You can put your tape measure in there for quick cuts. On the other side, we have a drywall plane or rasp. And here we have a keyhole saw. It's not hard to use at all. With a few practice runs, you'll be good to go. Now, in South Korea, this is a practical tool that's used for anyone who's doing any sort of drywall installation, from amateurs and folks just doing their own home repairs, all the way to professional carpenters. Now, this black blade here was actually manufactured at our company using South Korean POSCO steel, which is very high quality. So it used to be that only German tools and Japanese tools were considered high quality, but now South Korean tools have also proven themselves to be just as good. When it comes to cutting drywall, Americans and Europeans tend to use their triangular blades, and they apply a lot of pressure, a lot of force, making deep cuts. Now, when it comes to drywall though, all you really need to do is cut through that thin paper exterior. So as long as you go about 1 millimeter in, you're all set. And this is how South Koreans do it. So they use their blade, they apply just a little bit of pressure, again, only going in about 1 millimeter, almost like just grazing the board. There you go. Cuts no problem. Now, that's one of the reasons why South Koreans can use their blades for so long, because they just apply a little bit of pressure. Now, South Koreans have a habit, or a culture really, of working fast. So when a blade gets dull, what they do is they just take out the back, stick this in, break it off, and then get right back to work with a fresh blade. Now, as opposed to this, where you've got to unscrew it, replace the blade, it takes a lot more time. So remove this back piece, stick that blade into the slot, break off that section, then simply stick that back piece back in. You're good to go with a fresh blade. Now, when it comes to cutting drywall, you have a bunch of different options. Now, one of the most basic is to use a guide. So you make your measurement, get your cutter, and simply cut along the guide. Now, guides can be a little cumbersome though. You gotta carry this around, you always have to have it with you. So, this tool has a function to make things a whole lot easier, a whole lot more convenient. For faster drywall installation, for faster cuts, you can actually hook the tape measure right here to this little slot, and then use the tape measure as a guide. Make your cuts, you're all done. That's all you need. So let's say I need to make a cut in my drywall. I will take my tape measure. Let's say it needs to be, we'll go with a 12-inch cut. Now I grab my tool, extend the blade, and I'm gonna put the tape measure into that slot right here. And I'm gonna use the tape measure, this part right here, as the guide. That's where I'm gonna apply my pressure. On the blade itself, I'm only going to apply a little bit of pressure. Again, I only need to go in about 1 millimeter to cut through that paper. So in the slot, pressing the tape measure there against the drywall as the guide, I'm going to make one quick smooth motion, just like this. There we go. Gonna go ahead and cut the other side. And I've got my piece. So let's do a little demonstration. We have a space right over here that we need to fill with drywall. I'm gonna get my measurements, and I wanna make sure that I get a perfect fit without any spaces or big gaps. So let's get started. Take my measurement. Okay, we're at 18 inches at the top, 18 inches at the bottom. Gonna go ahead, and again, I'm using my tape measure here as a guide. So I've got it set. I'm gonna put the tape measure into that slot right here. Then again, I'm gonna use the tape measure, this part here, I'm gonna put pressure. That'll be my guide. A little bit of pressure on the blade. Remember, I only need to go in about 1 millimeter to cut that paper. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. Line it up. One quick cut. Those away. I'm gonna use my tool right here. There we go. Now just cut the other side. And my piece is ready to install. So you made your cut in the drywall, you've broken it, and a lot of times you get these bulges or these protrusions that are sticking out. And the problem is your cut line is the size that you need it, but the bulge is too big. So maybe the piece won't fit, or when you end up putting this side against a totally flat piece of drywall, the seam can be too big, and that can cause other problems, especially when you're mudding it. There's too much mud or it sinks in, then it can crack, then you have to mud again. It's really just a waste of time. So here's how we take care of that. Again, we don't want to go and have to get another tool, or we don't want to have to carry another tool on our belts. We've got what we need right here. So simply lift up the board. I'm going to use my planer that's right here. There you go. All gone, only took 2 seconds. So now I'll just check. I'll put this piece against this piece. There you go. They're nice and flush with each other, no gaps. Now, all because of this planer here. All right, so now we're gonna go and install this piece. Check the size. All right. Seems to be a little bit off. So again, just gonna use my planer here and shave off that excess. I've planed it, it should fit perfect, so let's see. Yep. There, fits perfect. So next I want to show you the keyhole saw. Here we have the keyhole saw. Now the keyhole saw is perfect for making any sort of hole in drywall. So you don't need a power tool, this is all you need. So let's say I'm putting in a box for a plug. I've traced it out right here. I'm simply going to take my keyhole saw and I'm going to push in. I'm going to do it a few millimeters, or about 1/4 of an inch on the inside of the line. Simply push it in. There you go. and I've made my hole. And with my keyhole saw here, of course, I can make round holes in the ceiling for lights or any other shape I need. The keyhole saw is also perfect for corners. So if you try to cut a corner with the blade, you've got to go really deep, over and over, over and over, and then it's going to take a long time. Not only that, you're going to wear out your blade, and even then, it's not going to break very well. So instead, you're going to use your keyhole saw, lock it into place. You're going to cut whatever you need, not really giving a lot of pressure. I'll say about that much. Put it back with the knife, just simply make one cut, and there you go. You've got your corner in no time. And another option you have for this tool is the holder. Now, 109 Tools actually uses recycled sofa leather for their holders. So they're all gonna have their own unique little personality, their own different colors depending on the sofa that they've used, on the materials that they've used. So that is another option. This makes it much easier to carry around. You can put it on your tool belt, you have a place to store it. So definitely an option to consider. Whether you're an amateur or professional, if you're doing any sort of drywall work, I definitely recommend this tool. So again, it has the 4 functions of cutter, tape measure hook, the drywall plane, and the keyhole saw. Now when you first get it, it might be a little awkward to use like any tool, but try it a couple times, you'll get the hang of it. Also on the back here, you have some directions on how to use it, some suggestions. There's also a QR code right here. If you go ahead and scan that with your phone, you'll find videos on more detailed instructions on how to use it. So, I mean, it can't really be beat as far as convenience. I mean, again, it's right here. This is all it takes up as far as space goes. Got everything I need in that one little tool.